Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment is brought to you by Daniel Hood Roofing. Are your shingles older than they should be? The extremes in weather here in East Tennessee can do serious damage to your shingles. High heat, bitter cold, then more rain than Seattle for good measure. It all takes a toll. Don't wait till you see a stain on your ceiling. Call Daniel Hood Roofing today to set up a 100% free inspection. That's Daniel Hood Roofing. So Tennessee gets the win on Friday, and it's an ongoing case still, but a big win for Tennessee, it seems. Tennessee is able to take a step back from NCAA concerns right now. But what about the future of the NCAA, the future of college sports? This will have some kind of impact. Jimmy Himes, what do you think the future of college sports with the latest ruling that went against the NCAA?
I think that in football, you're going to have a separation from the current status. Not necessarily a divorce from the NCAA, but I think and I don't think it's just the SEC and the Big Ten. There are other programs out there, Clemson and the ACC and some others in the Big 12. I could see a power league of 50 to 60 teams. They have their own governing rules, but they're not detached from the NCAA. They call their own shots. They vote on all their rules, and then the NCAA governs all the other sports. That's what I think is going to happen.
I think that the toothpaste is out of the tube. They're never getting control of NIL back. I think that probably by the end of 2024, we get some level of a court or National Labor Relations Board or congressional ruling that college athletes are employees. And when that happens, everything changes because then they can unionize, they can collectively bargain to determine what their compensation is going to be. And then we see what Jimmy's talking about. You'll see for football and maybe even big-time college basketball, them break away from the NCAA because if they're employees, you have to pay them, you have to start maximizing revenue. Can the University of Tennessee really continue to subsidize Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Missouri? Alabama's not going to want to do that. Georgia's not going to want to do that. So I agree with Jimmy. That's where we're going. This is just the first domino on the way to that, in my opinion.
What do you guys think?
One of the things I read after the injunction came out was, will the NCAA, a lot of it had nothing to do with the University of Tennessee. It was big picture stuff, NCAA, what's going to happen there. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I read that had to do with Tennessee and the NCAA, okay, the NIL stuff seemingly now is off the table. NCAA has no leg to stand on. But this investigation supposedly encompassed more than just football and just NIL. So now will the NCAA hone in on doing this? And I thought, boy, if they do that, what an incredibly, brilliantly stupid thing could they do? Because I think this injunction has really hurt the NCAA going forward. And the direction it go could be exactly what Will said. You've got a football set up over here, and then everything else stays over on the other side. But I think if the NCAA takes this and looks at it as, okay, Tennessee, you got away with this, but you're not going to get away with these other things, whatever they may possibly be, then I think you could see the NCAA totally imploding and going away as an entity, which, how do you set up the March Madness basketball tournaments? How do you do this? How do you do that? It would leave a hole. But I think that the NCAA is teetering on not even being an organization anymore.
Well, it's a mess one way or the other for the NCAA. They are on seemingly their last legs. What's interesting is when the SEC and Big Ten, they sort of got together to discuss the landscape of college athletics, aka money. That they said that Sankey said that, hey, we're not looking to separate or bury the NCAA. We want to work together what works best. So I wonder if, kind of to what Jimmy was saying, if they envision a plan that doesn't destroy them, but maybe gives us what we want, our bigger piece of the pie. Because let's be honest, all this is about money. But I would imagine separating football from everything else is where they'll ultimately end up, whether they're employees or not.
But it's Charlie Baker trying to do Project D1 and things like that, where, hey, all the athletes are going to make the same amount of money and you can pay up to this number of athletes, and they thought 100 schools would do this. That showed that they were trying to move in that direction, and they realized
it's different from what the NCAA has talked about.
Absolutely. So I think there was at least an effort to move into that, and then we get stupid things like you can't give a cookie cake inside of a hotel room. It has to be given in the lounge and things like that. And those are the things, especially seeing what Greg Sankey did this week, the SEC is in discussions to have their own signing day. No, this is our signing day. And you're seeing Tony Batiti and Greg Sankey kind of let the NCAA know, we don't trust you, we're not waiting on you, and we'll go ahead and just run this thing ourselves. That's not something I would want if I was Charlie Baker.
Money's always going to be the central figure, though. We have more topics that will cover money and how it's going to drive college football. But the NCAA future very much in question. There is no question with Tennessee's assistant coaching positions. They were filled this past week. When we come back, who Josh Heupel has hired and the impact on Tennessee. That's next.